Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Gorhamian here with Misfit Studios as always, and today we're going to be taking a look at the power supply, or the brick, as some people call it, from the Xbox One. This one here has actually been making a lot of noise. There is a fan in here that you can take out and clean. We're going to be doing that today, so I'm going to show you how to disassemble this, clean it up, and then reassemble. Okay, so taking a look at this straight off, what we're going to need is, first you're going to need a small Phillips head, something that's pretty sharp, pretty thin, and then a T10 Tamper Proof Torx bit. And the reason why it's tamper proof is because there is a little hole in the center of this. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. When you're looking at the underside, underneath the 4 little rubber feet, those are tamper proof Torx bits. So there's a little pin in the inside of those. Regular Torx will not work. You won't be able to get those screws out. I can put a link in the description below. I think I spent like maybe $8 or $9 on this on Harbor Freight. I can go ahead and put a link in the description for that. So let's go ahead and take this apart. And so what you need to do is actually remove the 4 little rubber feet. These have already been removed on this. I think I purchased this Xbox, it's been quite a few years ago. So this power supply is rather old. It's also very, very dirty. As you can see, you can always see some dirt and stuff coming out of the vents. So let's go ahead and pull this apart. It's just going to be this T10, and we're just going to need to break these loose here. Alright, so now that we've got those 4 screws out, we can go ahead and split this apart. This top piece will come off, well, rather the bottom will actually come off pretty easily. So let's go ahead and flip that over so the Xbox is pointing up. We're just going to lift that cover off. And the inside of this thing is disgusting. No wonder it's making a bunch of noise. This little piece here is actually just the indicator light, and so it'll go over here in this little corner, so make sure to not lose that, because it will come loose. So to unplug this fan, there's this little wire that comes out of the top of the fan. This is the fan here, and it actually comes out of here. So let's go ahead and pull that little pin out, or that little plug. It's just a 2-pin connector. Go ahead and pull that out. Be careful not to, of course, tear the wiring, and then you're going to snake that wire back out. So let's go ahead and take that top part. We're going to put this aside for right now. As you can see, it is absolutely disgusting. Something of note, though, please do not go around poking and prodding on the inside of this. There are electrical components that are in here that potentially can store a bunch of energy. So you can hurt yourself if you are not careful and you don't know what you're doing around electrical equipment. We're not going to be poking or prodding or anything like that. We're actually going to just hit it with some compressed air. You can use a can of air duster, or in my case, I'm just going to be using an air compressor out in the garage. And we're going to go ahead and clean all that up. So we're just going to put this one aside for right now, and let's go ahead and take a look at the top, which has got the fan on the inside. Okay, so I have found out that these 2 larger screws here that hold the fan in, if you actually use a small flathead, they're a little easier to get out, because that Phillips head in those is just a little oddly shaped, and so it's just going to be a little easier to do that. So we're going to go ahead and put those to the side. Got those 2 screws with our flathead screwdriver. Let's go ahead and go over to our Phillips, nice and sharp, small one. We're going to be pulling these small screws out next. Oh, where'd you go? There it goes. All right, so let's go ahead and get this guy pulled up and out. Just like that. And as you can see, the inside of this is absolutely disgusting. It is horrible. Wow, that's that's terrible. No wonder it's making noise. All right, so now that we've got the fan pulled out of this, it doesn't sound like we've got anything rubbing. Make sure to go ahead and spin that quite a few times. Make sure none of those fins are touching the actual plastic housing. We're going to know more, of course, after we spin that again, after we clean it, get that gunk and crap blown out of there. We're going to go ahead and take them out to the garage, get all this stuff cleaned up, get all the dust and debris out of here, and go from there. Okay, so we have come back inside. Make sure when you are doing this, whether you're using compressed air or you're using like a can of air duster, always do this outside, do it outdoors. That way you're not blowing dust and debris around the inside of the house. There is some, dust and stuff still caked on the inside of this cover. And if you just go ahead and wipe that down, if it's really kind of stubborn, you can take some rubbing alcohol and some cotton swabs and clean out the inside. Make sure that that little metal heat shield stays stuck where it's at. And of course, this is an older power supply, so the inside of this may look a little different than yours. I know there's been some updates to them over the years, and so this one is very, very old. As you can see, it was pretty filthy. Whenever you're putting a power supply in, like if you're, finding a place for your Xbox, always make sure that you're putting it in an area that it's not going to get too hot. Like, you don't want anything covering up any of the vent holes. You don't want anything, sitting on top of it. You always want it to keep this thing nice and cool. Okay, so let's go ahead and put everything back together. All right, so we got those two large screws in. After you do that, just give that fan just a little bit of a wiggle. Make sure that it's not, nothing is bound up. Make sure that those screws are still nice and snug. And then, because what happens is if this fan is loose on the inside, it's going to rattle and make noise too. So just be mindful of that. So let's go ahead and put that fan back in. There we go. You want to make sure that that slides down nice and flush with everything. So let's go ahead and put these tiny little screws back in. So we've got that all put together. Let's go ahead and move this stuff so we can give it some more room. And we're going to bring over the main body. And it looks like it cleaned up fairly well. There might be a little bit of dust on the outside. It's not going to be perfect, and if it's not, pristine and, absolutely spotless, that's not a huge deal either. We just wanted to get a lot of that dirt out of there, especially out of that fan, because this thing was making a whole heck of a lot of noise. Let's go ahead and put this back in. Make sure we plug in our fan, because, of course, we want that fan to work. Just like that. Make sure that that plug-in is flush all the way around the bottom of that plastic housing. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's that little white plug. And then we're just going to flip this guy over. And, of course, don't forget your indicator light. You want that to be put back in as well. And this just sits on top of the LED. Just like this. So this plastic piece is going to face this little board that's coming out. There's an LED on the face that lines up with the bottom of this plastic piece, so it fits in just like that. And then you just flip this over and then slide that cover right back on the top. And it's got to find its posts to sit down, and it'll click just down like that, and you'll have a very small seam around the entire outside of it. Make sure that this plastic grommet that goes to the outlet from the wall, and then of course this side goes to the back of the Xbox. Make sure that those little rubber grommets are all seated properly, and then our little LED indicator is seated as well before you put the screws in. We're going to go ahead and flip it over, and then let's go ahead and drop down all four of these screws. It's the exact reverse. And like I said, I'll put a link in the description below on where I found this neat little tool, because if you're going to be using, or if you're going to be doing anything like this in the future, whether it's going to be, you know, maybe you've got something that's broken on one of your controllers, especially the wireless ones. The wired controllers, most of those are going to be Phillips head screws, and so you really don't have to worry about it. But unlike the Elite controllers, or like the controllers that come with the Xbox One, they all have tamper-proof fasteners or tamper-proof screws, and so they're going to take this exact same style. And actually, I'm fairly certain that it is a T10 on those as well. And so if you're going to be doing that or needing to be doing that in the future, it would be actually a pretty good idea to pick one of these little multi-tool style Torx. All right, and that's all there is to it. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching. Gorhamian here with Misfit Studios, as always. And if you like this kind of stuff, please leave a comment down below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and we will see you guys next time.